Hey, quick question. What if I told you 3 skills will make most of the money people chase in 2026? Hi, I'm Denny's. Sounds bold, I know, but hear me out. These aren't tricks. They're repeatable skills you can learn. One line. If you want to earn in 2026, stop hunting jobs and start building 3 core skills that pay consistently. This episode is short and practical, not fluff. We'll cover exactly which skills matter, why they matter, and how to practice them. You'll walk away knowing the 3 skills, how to get them fast, and realistic first steps you can do this week. I'll give examples with numbers, stories of people who did it, and what actually works versus what sounds good but wastes time. If you hate vague advice, great, I do too. This is specific, actionable, and tuned for 2026 realities. All right, quick roadmap. First, we break down the first skill and why it pays, then the second, then the third, then practical moves. Skill 1 is persuasive value creation, learning to make something someone will pay for, then explain why it matters to them. Think of it like cooking for someone who pays you based on how much they enjoy the meal, not how pretty the plate looks. This skill is not just create stuff, it's create stuff that solves a measurable problem for a paying customer. Why this pays? Companies and people pay for outcomes that move a number. More users, more revenue, less cost. Saved time. Example. A friend redesigned a checkout flow and increased conversion from 2% to 3.5%, which meant an extra $50,000 per month. Wait, hold on, a 1.5% bump equals $50,000? Yeah, if monthly visitors are 200,000 and average order is $20, math adds up fast. So the skill is 2 parts. Make the thing and measure the impact. Both are needed to get paid like that. How to practice. Pick a small, measurable project, like improving signups on a friend's site by 10%, and track before and after. I actually tried this. Last month, I helped a local store test 2 product descriptions and we tracked clicks and purchases for 2 weeks. We changed the headline, added a clear benefit, and measured a 12% lift in clicks, which translated into a steady uptick in orders. That gave me a case study and a tiny portfolio line that convinced another client to pay $1,200 for a similar test. Concrete practice plan. Week 1, learn basic metrics. Week 2, run a tiny experiment. Week 3, write up results and pitch it to 3 people. Tools you need: spreadsheet for tracking, a simple A/B testing tool or 2-page variants, and a quick template to record outcomes. And yes, I get it. You might not be a designer or coder. That's okay. Value creation can be content, process changes, or outreach that brings clients. For instance, one copywriter I know wrote a cold email sequence that booked meetings worth $10,000 per signed customer, and that sequence sold repeatedly. The key question to ask when you do this: what number moves if this succeeds, and who pays when that number moves? Skill 2 is systems thinking with operational muscle, meaning you can run and improve a repeatable process that delivers results. Think of it like being the chef and the kitchen manager, not just the person who cooks one great dish and leaves. Companies pay for people who can take a repeatable win and scale it without chaos, and that scales income more than a one-off talent. Example: someone builds a lead pipeline that brings 5 qualified leads per week. Turn that into a documented process and you just doubled the team's throughput. I worked with a small agency where one person standardized onboarding and saved 15 hours per week across the team, which freed us to take more clients. That person went from a junior salary to running ops and added an extra $20,000 in billable capacity for the company within months. How to practice systems thinking. Pick a small recurring task in your life: paying bills, recruiting freelancers, posting socials, and make a checklist, timer, and quality control step. Try documenting the process in 5 bullet points. Then time how long each step takes and where errors pop up most often. Then automate or simplify the slowest step. Use a template, a macro, or a basic script. Even a Google Sheets formula can save hours. Real talk. Most people overcomplicate this, looking for a perfect tool when a 10-minute checklist and a 20-minute template would be enough. Concrete example. A freelance designer used templates for proposals and reduced time to send a quote from 2 hours to 10 minutes, closing more deals. That turned into more money not by charging more but by doing more qualified work, which mattered more to their bank account. Skill 3 is narrative selling, the ability to explain your value in a short, believable story that prompts action from customers or employers. It's like telling someone a quick story about why your service is the solution, except the story includes a clear outcome and next step. This skill wins because attention is scarce and decisions are emotional. Numbers matter, but stories sell the numbers. Example pitch. I make your onboarding convert 20% better in 30 days so you get more active users without buying ads. Short, outcome-based, and time-limited. Compare that to a long resume full of tasks. People respond faster to a clear, specific result they can imagine. I tested a 2-sentence outreach last month and got responses from 3 of 20 prospects versus 0 from a long, rambling email I used before. Practice narrative selling by writing 3 one-line value statements, one for clients, one for employers, one for collaborators. Each should be measurable, what you change, by how much, and how quickly, plus a simple next step the listener can take. For instance, I reduce ad costs 15% in 60 days by cleaning audiences and rewriting top-performing creatives. Want a 30-minute audit? Then use that line in emails, DMs, and your bio. See what lands, tweak one element, and test again. Okay, I know you're thinking which skill to learn first. The easy answer is persuasive value creation because it's the fastest path to paid results. But here's the twist. The best approach is to combine them quickly. Create value. Systematize it, then package it into a short story people can buy. Think of it like building a product. Skill 1 builds the feature. Skill 2 ships it reliably. Skill 3 gets customers to care and pay. A friend of mine built a side hustle doing exactly that. A newsletter where each issue fixed one conversion problem. He documented the process, then sold a paid audit. He started with a $50 paid audit at first, then moved to $500 packages once he had proof. His monthly income scaled predictably after he systematized outreach. Numbers again: month 1 $400, month 3 $2,400, month 6 $6,000. Not magic, just repeatable moves and better storytelling. Now let's get real about what doesn't work. Chasing hot skills you can't show results for, like vague AI buzzwords without measurable outcomes. Or spending months on courses without shipping anything. Learning is great, but earning requires output and feedback loops. So practical advice: pick one small paid outcome you can produce in 30 days, document results, and charge a fair price for that exact outcome. If you want numbers to aim for, 2 paid clients at $500 each per month is a solid starting target that beats most unpaid projects. You can scale from there by systematizing onboardings, automating follow-ups, and having a repeatable narrative for outreach. All right, mid-roll pause. Quick question for you. Which of the 3 skills feels most doable right now, and why would you pick that one? If you have a second, drop that answer where you listen or make a quick note. It helps you pick one thing to actually practice this week. And hey, if you found the examples useful, share this with one person who needs practical next steps, not hype. Okay, back to practical steps. We covered what each skill looks like. Now let's get into exact daily and weekly practices that work. Daily practice for persuasive value creation. Spend 30 minutes finding a measurable problem and 30 minutes trying a tiny fix you can measure. Daily practice for systems thinking. Document one process each day in 5 bullets, then time it once a week and cut the slowest step by half. Daily practice for narrative selling. Write 3 versions of your one-line value pitch and say them out loud to a friend or a mirror. Weekly ritual. Run one small experiment, log results in a spreadsheet, and share a short write-up publicly or with a potential client. That public write-up becomes your proof and your narrative, which you can reuse in pitches and bios. 1-month plan. Week 1, pick the problem and baseline the metric. Week 2, run 2 variants. Week 3, measure and document. Week 4, pitch the outcome. Pricing guidance. Start low but measurable. $200 for a one-off test, $500 for a month-long optimization, or revenue share if you can track the uplift clearly. Revenue share example: you fix checkout and take 10% of the incremental revenue for 3 months. Track everything in a spreadsheet and agree on baseline. If you're uncomfortable with pricing, use short-term offers, a trial audit for $49 or a paid pilot for $250 to reduce risk for the buyer. Cold outreach templates that work. Short, outcome first, time-limited question, and a clear next step, like a 20-minute audit call. Example: hey, I cut onboarding churn 20% for similar apps. Want a 20-minute audit this week to see if the same fits your funnel? Follow-up rule: If no response, send one reminder, then a value note with an insight you found, then move on. Relentless follow-up is optional, not required. Use social proof quickly. One sentence about a similar outcome or a tiny case study to make the pitch believable, not boastful. If you need tools, Google Sheets, a simple A/B testing tool, a form for client intake, and a basic invoicing or Stripe link will do for starters. Don't overbuy tools. The first billable dollar matters more than a perfect stack. Use free tiers until you have revenue to justify upgrades. What actually works long-term? Repeatability and trust. One good documented outcome plus a reliable process beats 5 vague qualifications on a resume. Build a simple case study template: problem, action, metric, time frame, testimonial, next steps. Keep it short and shareable as a PDF or page. A real example: a case study with one chart showing conversion before and after, plus a quote from the client closed. 3 similar deals in a month. Hiring managers and customers read the headline and chart first. Make that front and center, and they do the math in seconds. One more real-world route. Micro-agency model. Build a small repeatable service. Document SOPs. Hire one contractor and scale by selling the process. You can reach $10,000 months with a compact, repeatable offer and a steady pipeline of outreach and referrals. Not complicated structures. Common mistake: trying to be everything to everyone. Pick a niche problem for the first 6 months and be the best at that single result. Niche example: I reduce cart abandonment for mid-priced DTC brands using better urgency and social proof. Specific, believable, targeted. Another practical tip: trade time for testimonials at first. Do a low-cost pilot with clear measurement, then use the success to charge full price. If you want to learn faster, find a mentor or peer group doing the same thing and swap short feedback sessions once a week for accountability. Accountability beats motivation. A 30-minute weekly check with one committed friend will make you ship results far faster than solo study. Now, what about AI tools? Use them as accelerators for research, write drafts, or generate ideas, but never let them replace the outcome tracking you'll sell. AI helps you move faster, but the buyer cares about actual numbers and documented improvement, not AI buzzwords on your page. So a balanced workflow. Use AI to draft experiments and copy, run the experiment yourself, and measure real user behavior to prove it worked. I'll give a quick checklist you can screenshot. Pick problem, set baseline metric, design tiny experiment, run it, measure, document, pitch. If you do that every 2 weeks, in 3 months you'll have 6 documented experiments and 3 paid clients or meaningful offers to leverage. Okay, let me quickly address risk. What if you fail? Failure gives you data. If an experiment doesn't move the metric, write what went wrong and try again. Failure is cheaper when experiments are small. Don't bet your rent. Bet 2 to 4 hours of focused work and one small budget for tools or ads. If pricing scares you, start with results-based contracts or fixed pilots so the buyer feels less risk and you prove value fast. Also, guard your time. Take one paid pilot at a time until you can systematize onboarding and delivery into a repeatable workflow. A note about hustle culture: you don't need to work 80 hours. You need clear focus, repeated experiments, and better storytelling to convert outcomes into money. Now, practical hiring or freelancing moves. Craft a one-page outreach with your one-line narrative, a short case study, and a simple CTA for a 20-minute call. Make the CTA time-limited. I have 3 audit slots this week. Scarcity helps, but don't fake scarcity. Actually limit availability. If you're building a product, same playbook applies. Ship something that moves a metric, document traction, then pitch to customers or investors with clear evidence. For people worried about credentials, results beat credentials in most small to medium-sized companies and many freelance gigs. One UX researcher I know got past 0 experience by doing unpaid tests, documenting them, and selling a $300 audit after 2 documented wins. That $300 audit turned into a recurring contract because the company valued the repeatable process she brought and the measurable results. If you want a simple daily schedule, 60 minutes on experiments, 30 minutes on outreach, 30 minutes on systems or automation, then 1 hour documenting. That 4-hour focused block, done 3 times a week, will get you far faster than scattered learning and no shipping. All right, moving into some darker reality checks. Competition is real, But differentiation is easier when you focus on niche outcomes. Instead of I do growth, say I improve onboarding conversion for B2B SaaS in the $50 to $200 seat price range. That's tangible and easier to sell. If you're flexible, broaden slightly after you have 3-5 case studies, but early on, narrowing beats broadening every time. Another quick tactic: publish short write-ups of your experiments on LinkedIn or Twitter with a chart and one sentence of insight. That builds credibility fast. People respond to charts and outcomes more than claims. Even a tiny chart showing before and after will get attention from the right buyers. Let me give you an example outreach email that's concise and works. Subject line outcome-based, one-line credibility, one-line offer, one CTA. Something like cut sign-up drop-off 20% in 30 days. I did that for X brand. 20-minute audit this week to see if it fits your funnel. Short, clear, and it invites a small commitment. People can say yes or no quickly, and you get a response rate that's useful. If you get a no, ask for feedback or permission to share a free insight. That keeps the door open and builds goodwill. For price increases, when you have clear before and after metrics and a documented process, raise prices in small steps and test buyer sensitivity. Document each price test. Offer A at $500, offer B at $750, see which converts better, and prefer higher net revenue per hour after delivery cost. One last practical play. Package outcomes into a low-friction product, like an audit or template you can sell without heavy onboarding. An audit can be done in a weekend, sold for $200 to $700, and gives you the proof you need to sell longer contracts later. If you're thinking long-term, invest the revenue into automating the slowest delivery steps and hire one contractor to replicate your workflow. That contractor becomes the multiplier. Suddenly your income scales because you sell the same process but deliver more of it. Recap time. Quick and useful. 1. Create measurable value and prove it with numbers. 2. Systematize the work so you can repeat it reliably. 3. Learn to tell a clear 2-line story that sells the outcome and invites a predictable next step like a 20-minute audit. If you take nothing else, do one measurable experiment this week, document the result, and pitch a paid pilot to one real person. That single loop will get you paying clients faster than another badge or course ever will, because clients pay for outcomes, not intentions. If this helped, share it with one person who needs a clear plan to start earning instead of endlessly learning. That really helps the show. All right, thanks for sticking with me. Try one of the skills this week and tell me what you did. Hearing results is my favorite part. Goodbye, and take one small measurable action today.